Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Connie from The Painted Photographer, and today I'm going to show you how I made one of my garden signs. And I used the IOD transfers, I used a WallCutz stencil, and I used a raised stencil technique to make this sign. So it's kind of fun, follow along. The first thing that I did is I took just this plain plywood piece of board, and it was brand new. So I put it on the gravel and I stomped on it, and I made all these little holes and divots in it and just roughed it up so that it didn't look like quite such a new board anymore. So I got all of that, you can see all the different holes in there. That's from just stomping on it on the gravel. I use a lot of stain, so what I did is I made up my own mixture. This is vinegar and a steel wool pad. So I just let it soak in there, and I didn't know what it was going to do, but it kind of disintegrated. And it's still in there. It's just little tiny pieces. And so I just kept stirring it around, and it just keeps making a darker color. It's kind of on the reddish, rusty side, which, in my opinion, that's really okay. I only need it for a base, and so I took my sponge brush and I just applied it on there. Some of the steel wool pad kind of disintegrates in there, so I just push it into the board. That's just more texture and more color. So here's the entire board all stained up with that vinegar and SOS pad mixture or steel wool pad mixture. And then I use the Cottage Color in Ameraucana. And when you use Cottage Colors, you have to stir them. They do separate, so make sure you stir them up. And I just poured a little bit out on my board and added some water. You don't necessarily have to add water with the Cottage Colors, but I had a big board and a big surface to cover, so I just added the water. It makes it flow a little bit easier, and it's got so much pigment in it that it really doesn't matter. Then I took my White Swan in the clay-based paint and I blended it. I didn't want quite such a solid color in the background. I wanted more of a blended look. So I took those two colors and blended them together. You can see that some places on the board I miss and I don't actually get them covered with paint. That's exactly how I want it. Next up, we're going to take my IOD Crackle Stamp and the IOD ink and the ink pad. I needed to re-ink that, so I thought I'd give you a how to do that. You just take your ink and re-ink it. Then I'm going to cover the entire stamp, since this is such a big board, and turn it over, and then just randomly place it and rub on the stencil. So you can see right here, I rubbed right on that edge. Bad thing to do. So I have a square edge right there. So to fix that, I just laid the stencil down again and kind of went over that area so I didn't have my straight line, because you do not want a straight line. That would not be a normal crackle to have a straight line of crackle. Then I had my DeWalt sander and I was outside, so I just gave this a really quick sand. I didn't sand it all off, but I just broke it down so it made it look worn. Then I have my WallCutz stencil, and you'll have a link in the description of where I get this stencil from. It is a favorite. I've used it for a long time. I have the little black dress in DIY and the JRV stencil brush, and I put the paint on and I take the paint off, and then you hold the stencil down. I like to make sure it's got some pressure on it so it doesn't move around on me. And then I either use a swirl method or a tap method to put the paint down into the stencil. And you keep refilling your brush. You're going to want to make sure that you don't have too much paint on there and the paint isn't too runny with the clay-based paint. It is a thicker paint, so it's not quite as critical, but if you use other paints, sometimes they are a little bit thinner, so you have to make sure that you get it all off before, otherwise it's a little juicy and you're going to have some runs after you remove the stencil. So this is, I'm doing the entire stencil, and I'm doing the swirl method and the tap method depending on where I'm at in the stencil and how tender the stencil is. And then after I'm all finished with that, I can go ahead and remove it. And it looks pretty good. I got a little juicy right there. Not a problem. This is a homemade sign, so you're going to want to embrace those imperfections. I don't like how a stencil looks like a stencil, so I take a small artist brush and my little black dress that I was using. I dilute it down with water so it's a little bit more fluid. I take that small artist brush and fill in the gaps. And when you fill in this gap, it really makes it not look like a stencil. It looks more like a hand painted sign. So I go around every single word and do every letter where there's a gap right there, filling that in with that small little artist brush. And you can see how much of a difference this makes to actually go ahead and fill in all these spaces. After that is all done, I like my stencil to look worn, so I take my sander again and I go ahead and I sand that freshly stenciled. It's dry. The paint is dry, but I stencil out all of them edges. I want it to be more like it's embedded into that board and not laid on the top. So I go ahead and I sand that all off, and then I take a microfiber cloth and get all of that paint dust off of the sign. And now I'm going to do the raised stencil part. This is just a stencil I got a long time ago. I don't even know where I got it from. And it has the word welcome on it, but it has some birds on a branch with some blossoms on it, which I think is really, really cute. So I went ahead and I taped off that welcome area there so I don't get mixed up. And I laid this bird branch right there on the edge of that trim. And this is plaster of Paris, like what you would fill your nail holes with if you were painting your wall in your house. And it's pink. When it dries, it turns white. So you just take your little spatula and smooth it onto the top of the stencil. You have to be careful because there are some tender parts of your stencil that'll curl up and your plaster will get underneath there. So just go right on the top. You don't need much, and you can spread it around and move it all around. And I'm just filling in the entire stencil, and then I like it to be a rough finish instead of a smooth finish where these birds are because I want it to look like it's raised and I want it to look plastery. So I go ahead and take my spatula and I really rough up those birds. And then I take it off when it is still wet. And there you have it, a raised stencil. I went ahead and I used this in a different area. You have to be careful not to get your plaster from those other areas onto your board. But if you do, they just wipe off with your finger anyway. So I placed the little bird right on top of that T, which I thought was really cute. Next up, it's dried. Everything has been drying for a while. I placed this stencil back down. It's a cheater method. I could have done this without the stencil, but it goes a little faster and I was in a hurry. And so I went ahead with my DIY paint and I painted all of the birds in the yellow. I painted the flowers pink, the kissing booth, and I painted the stems all in that gypsy green color. And I actually came back with the birds and gave them a little cake batter so that they have a little bit of highlight on them. And I thought this turned out really cute. It is a really, I haven't ever used this cheater method before, but I think I'm going to use it even now when I'm not in a hurry because it did really was slick to just use the stencil, and I'm not taking my patience at all. I'm actually just slopping on top of the stencil. And then when you peel it off, the only paint is on top of the stencil. And then I went ahead and I did this small little bird on the side as well. Everything has dried really well right now, and I'm going in with the DIY Big Top. I put my Big Top in a separate container. I don't like it to get stinky, so I just pour a small amount into a separate container and leave the big container uncontaminated. And I go over the entire sign with the DIY Big Top. This is a fantastic clear coat. They say it can't hold up in outdoors, but I say this holds up in the outdoors. I've had many items that are coated with Big Top that are in the outdoors. I am using this new IOD transfer, and it has so many roses on it. There is just so many roses in here. I've done another sign with this and another couple projects, and I still have roses left over in all these small little sizes. So I learned this trick from Ellen J. Goods. I went and she cuts everything out. She cuts all of her pieces out and organizes them and into sizes and colors and however you want to do it. And then you can go back and start your planning because all of your pieces are already cut out. And that actually worked really well. She's a very smart lady. And so now I went and tried to figure out my design using the pink on the blossoms that I did and some of that yellow, and tried to figure out a good color scheme for adding the roses to the sides of that frame. And then I kind of swooped down around the bottom of the frame also to give that a fun little look. So if you haven't ever used an IOD transfer before, you can cut them apart. Like this one, I didn't want the stem quite so long, so I cut it off. And so you remove it from the backer and you place it down. You have to be careful where you place it down because once you place it down, it's very hard to get back up. Then it comes with a transfer stick, and you're going to rub on the backing paper until the design starts to lift off. You can see it lifting off because it gets a lighter color. It's a very fun process. I really like this process. When that's all done, you can lift it up. If you had a spot that didn't transfer, just lay it back down and try it again. Then use the backer as a burnish tool. You can burnish the transfers back onto your project to make sure that they're stuck very, very well. So here I am figuring out my design, cutting pieces apart. You can cut so many of these transfers apart and make some really unique designs, and you don't have to use them the way that the IOD sisters have them all laid out. You can use them in any way you want. And so this was a fun process, and I really like the look. Now, you know me, I like things distressed, so I'm taking a 220 grit sanding pad and I'm going over top of those stencils or those transfers, not over the stencils. Do not go over the stencil. And I'm actually sanding them down a little bit so they look like they're embedded into the board. Then I'm taking clear wax. This sign is not going to be intended for outdoor use. And if you do put it outside, I would recommend you putting it on a porch, but it's going to go inside so I can use the wax on it. And I use the clear wax over the entire thing, and I use the black wax just to highlight those edges and give them a little bit darker feel. I did go in with the black wax over top of the stencil and in some of those areas where, remember, I put the divots in the board, and it actually gives it a lot of age. And you can see some of that board shining through the paint, and using this black wax just kind of darkens it right up. I hope you enjoyed this project today. It is really fun. I did sell the bigger board and I auctioned off the smaller one at a family reunion that I was at. And both parties just really, really love their signs. And if you need any DIY paint or IOD products, please visit my website at thepaintedphotographer.com and I'll ship them right to your front door. If you're local, you can find my products at Foreman's Farm Home in Medford, Wisconsin on 8th Street. And this is just really a fun project. I hope you try it. If you would like the WallCutz Stencil, I do have an affiliate link below. Any of the products that you see me use today will be linked below so that you can easily find them on my website. I hope that you give this a try. And as always, thanks for watching. And until next time, happy painting.